Sunday Boiler School. All right, let's talk about the almighty Dimension A for steam boilers. So Dimension A is the difference in height between the center of the gauge glass and the bottom of the lowest horizontal steam carrying pipe above the boiler water line. In a one-pipe gravity return steam system, Dimension A has to be a minimum of 28 inches. So when we're piping a steam boiler, here's the boiler here with your gauge glass here, your two valves above. Coming off the top of this boiler with a 24-inch nipple will bring you way above the minimum 28 inches from the middle of the sight glass. So you want to be middle here, and then this dimension will be greater than 28 inches. Because now you're coming over with a 90 and another 90 to catch your header with your T to your supply, and then back down into the boiler below the sight glass, and then your Hartford loop is coming down and over. This also applies to return piping as well. So if you see something, if your supply is coming around the house, you know, taking off for all your radiators, and then coming back down here, and then sometimes you see they have to get around a bend or something like that, and they come over 90 over here and then come back down and 90 again to catch this. This is still steam carrying. So because in the horizontal it is still steam carrying, you lose your A dimension here. So now this is less than 28 inches, and it can cause some serious water hammer because the pressure from the boiler is pushing the water away and out of the boiler. So the next question you might have is, how do we come up with this 28 dimension A? In a typical steam system, the condensate can rise up about 14 inches. So when the boiler is firing here, the water in the return can rise up 14 inches. There's an allowance of 4 inches for the pressure drop on the wet return when the water is now stacking up in this return pipe. The old timers added an extra 2 inches to this for a clogged or muddy return. So say you have a wet return that stops at the end of the house, but then it has to travel all the way back this way. So they added an extra 2 inches for that. And then the last 8 inches comes from storage space for a cold startup for the condensate. So when your boiler's off and you go to fire it up and this return piping is cold, it will condensate way more than an already hot pipe. So that gives you the 28 inches, and it's equal to the downward force of 1 psi. So you have to add that to the force of the leftover steam in the piping, and it is now enough for the return to come back up the Hartford loop and drip back into the boiler.